Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you what I think my makeup collection would look like if I wasn't a beauty guru, if I wasn't a YouTuber, beauty vlogger, whatever you guys want to call it. Of course, being on YouTube and being a lover and collector of makeup, I have a lot of makeup in my collection. And although I think if I wasn't doing YouTube, I still think I would have a decent amount of makeup, I do have to say a lot of the product that I have accumulated over the last few years have strictly been for review purposes, to share with you guys on my channel, to find a dupe and stuff like that. But really thinking of, if I didn't have my whole collection, what are the best of the best products, my absolute all-time favorites that I think I would be so happy with having if I didn't need all of this other makeup for my YouTube channel, what would those products be? And that is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. I did manage to fit my whole small collection if I wasn't a YouTuber or beauty guru in this one makeup bag, which is pretty impressive. Back in the day, I only did have a makeup bag. I don't know exactly how much makeup I would actually have if I wasn't on YouTube, but I think it would probably be around like a large makeup bag's worth. So I have my staples, but I still have a couple of different options when it came to shades and finishes and stuff like that. Because even if I didn't do YouTube, I still think I would be in love with makeup and still have more than the average person. So I really hope that you guys enjoy. I know that was a little bit of a long intro, but if you want to see my makeup collection if I wasn't a beauty guru, make sure to keep on watching. I'm going to be talking about the products today in the order that I do my makeup, just to keep it a little bit more organized. If you guys want to go ahead and skip around, you'll know where to find certain products in the order of my routine. So first up, I'm going to start off with my eyebrows. The eyebrow products that I would definitely have in my makeup collection if I was not a beauty guru, I'm sure you guys can guess, are the Anastasia Brow Wiz and the Profusion Brow Powder. First and foremost, I love the formula of a Brow Wiz. To me, no brow pencil comes close except the Fenty one. I kind of think I might have the Fenty pencil in my collection as well. I recently ran out of it, so I don't have it here to show you guys, but I just feel like maybe I would have the Brow Wiz and the Fenty Brow MVP just because they're both very similar and they're both good, but I feel like I don't have to talk a lot about the Brow Wiz. I just love this. It is the perfect formula, very beginners friendly, very easy to start off light and build up to that brow you want, but you also can go more intense with the Brow Wiz. So definitely the Brow Wiz would be the pencil that I have, and I have this in the shade Chocolate. And then of course, mixing it with the Profusion Cosmetics Brow Powder. This is a huge hidden gem from the drugstore that unfortunately I don't think is available anymore. I initially got this in a set from Profusion, like a brow kit that they had for a really inexpensive price. I love this brow powder. It is just so fluffy. It is the perfect shade for my brows, and it just adds more of that natural look to kind of balance out the little draw lines that you get with the ABH Brow Wiz, just to kind of fluff the brows up and make them look more natural. This is the combination that I use every single day despite having other brow products in my collection. So if I didn't have those, I would definitely still use this every single day. Narrowing down eyeshadow palettes was definitely hard because thinking back to when I wasn't on YouTube, I still always had a ton of eyeshadow palettes. So in a very realistic sense, if I didn't do YouTube, I still think I would have maybe 10 or more eyeshadow palettes in my collection. But when I think of if I wanted to narrow that down even more for right now, I definitely think I would choose these two palettes. Of course, the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette. I know I talk about this palette a lot here on my channel, and I'm not sure the availability of it anymore. It might be still available on Anastasia Beverly Hills website. It is just perfection when I want to go glam, daytime glam, nighttime glam, colorful glam, or a more neutral kind of soft glam. I could get all of those different types of looks with this palette. I don't have to dip into a bunch of different palettes to get the desired look that I want when I'm traveling, even if it's for a week or 2 weeks. I can bring this palette with me and know that I am comfortable with these choices and that I'll still have everything that I could want in an eyeshadow palette. So I definitely would have the Jackie Aina palette right now if I wasn't a YouTuber. And I also think I would have the ColourPop Nude Mood palette because this is a great basic everyday eyeshadow palette. Just on those days where I would want something more simple. Before I was a YouTuber, I kind of did tend to do the same everyday makeup look and didn't play around with a lot of color. So I definitely think if I wasn't a YouTuber, I would love this palette. I love it now. I use it a ton. But for just more of a simplistic approach to makeup, for a basic everyday look, like I said, I definitely think this would be another choice to have in my collection. The colors are beautiful, those beautiful solid warm neutrals that I love to use every day. But ColourPop formula is also really amazing, really easy to work with, nice and pigmented. It has a nice mixture of mattes, shimmers, a couple of those metallic and super shock shadows, and this palette just never lets me down. Definitely a great staple, I think, for everyone to have something like this in their makeup collection. If I wasn't a beauty guru, I definitely think I would have this eyeliner in my collection, because you guys know I'm not a huge eyeliner person. I used to be very into my big wings, lots of waterline eyeliner, but my style of eyeliner has definitely changed. But one that I know I would for sure make it a point to own are the LA Girl Neon Shockwave eyeliners. These are absolutely incredible. Formula wise, they have so many fun colors, and I think it's just a really fun and easy way to add a pop of color into any makeup look, even if you are a beginner and you're scared of colorful eyeshadow or doing more crazy and out there things with your makeup. You could go ahead and do your normal everyday look and throw on one of these in the waterline. I don't know if you guys can see today, I do have the shade, what shade is this? I do have the shade Electric in my waterline, which is just a really pretty mid-tone blue. It's not a super bright pop of color, but it just adds something fun to what is overall a neutral type of look. If I did not make YouTube videos about makeup, I think I would only have one mascara in my collection, and it would definitely be the Essence Lash Princess mascara. This is just such an amazing formula, and it is only $5. And just looking back at my mascara habits, again, before I made videos, I only ever had one mascara. I only got mascaras from the drugstore. I definitely think I would only have one, which is my all-time favorite ever, the Essence Lash Princess. This one right here is the waterproof one, which I really like as well. This one gives a little bit more of a hold to the curl on my lashes, and it is absolutely smudge proof and great for the summertime. So I think either or would work. The formulas do look very similar on the eyes, but for only being $5, this is hands down the absolute best mascara that I think one could get, even better than high-end mascaras in my opinion. So I definitely think this is the one that I would hang on to if I didn't do YouTube. Now we are going to be moving on to the base products that I would have in my collection if I wasn't a beauty guru. Now this was definitely a lot harder than the eyes, because I have my tried and true base products, but I really am the type of person that I love to switch my products up on my face. I love to do a different primer foundation combo every day. I love to wear a different concealer every day. So these are the categories where I'm kind of starting to have some multiples. Starting off with spray though, I only have one. I definitely think I would only have and only need some MAC Fix Plus in my collection when it comes to spray. Definitely an oldie but a goodie, but it is so reliable. It gets the job done, takes down that powderiness, gives me a nice refresh on the skin, and makes my makeup just look so amazing. I'm actually running really low on this. I think I would be very happy with this, and I honestly don't really think I would be super into setting sprays and fixing sprays, again, if it weren't for having my YouTube channel. So just some good old Fix Plus would be in my makeup collection. For primer, I do have a couple of different options here because my skin type is very combination, kind of normal to combo, so I am able to pull off a couple of different looks to my primer. So I picked out a couple here for my makeup collection, one for each skin situation, depending on the weather, depending on the day, and stuff like that. So the first one that I think I would definitely have in my collection is the Maybelline Master Prime Primer, or something along these lines where it has that clear silicone type of feel. These used to be my favorite types of primers back in the day, and I just kind of see myself never straying away from these if I had never started my YouTube channel. It's kind of like that universal, all-in-one, blurring, smoothing, perfecting type of primer that looks really great under every single foundation. I would definitely have my good old tried and true e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is, again, very universal, but this also does lean more on the hydrating side. So this makes a really beautiful base for the drier months in the winter, really nice and hydrating, kind of plumping, a little bit luminous on the skin. So I love this primer for for that. For those warmer months and warmer days when I have to stay outside, when I do want more of that matte look to the skin, which I do crave once in a while, I definitely would have the matte putty primer in my collection. This has been my absolute obsession this summer. I didn't think I would totally fall in love with this primer as much as I really ended up falling in love with it. It is so good, very smoothing and perfecting. Definitely mattes out the skin, especially if you just want to use it on your T-zone, but it's not overly drying. You're not going to flake, you're not going to look super like, you know, like the life is just totally sucked out of your skin. It's a really great kind of in-between mattifying option. So I definitely think those are the 3 primers that I would have if I wasn't on YouTube. Now moving on to foundation. This one was kind of difficult to narrow down, but I think I am happy with my choices. So the 2 that I chose for my makeup collection if I wasn't a beauty guru are the Maybelline 24 Hour Super Stay Foundation. Of course, I'm sure none of you are surprised, but I also decided on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation because I think I could get all of the foundation looks and finishes and the coverage differences that I would want using these 2 foundations either on their own or mixed together if I really wanted to. The Super Stay Foundation, I'm sure you guys know, is just that go-to glam foundation, very full coverage, more of a satin natural look on the skin, can look a little bit matte once it is set down with some powder. Overall, just like super full coverage. This is the foundation I'm wearing today. I actually forgot to mention that I am wearing most, if not all of these products on my skin. Besides like the multiple primers and stuff, I'm wearing the eyebrow products, I'm wearing the eyeliners, the mascara, the eyeshadow palettes, foundation, highlighter, and everything like that. I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. I'm sure you all know how I feel about my Super Stay Foundation. It is the best. I definitely don't think anything could ever be better. But again, I also went for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation because there are some days where I just want to go a little bit lighter coverage, where I want that strong dew and that strong luminosity to the skin, and the ABH Luminous Foundation definitely does that for me and my skin. If you just do like 1.5 pumps of this on a really damp sponge, you can get a nice sheer look to the skin, light to medium coverage. But if you do a decent amount of this foundation and really like press it into the skin and really take your time with it, this can be built up to a beautiful full coverage that still gives that luminous look. So again, I just love my options. I would want something for both kind of days depending on the makeup look that I was going for. I definitely think I would be super happy with having these 2 foundations in my makeup collection. The 2 concealers that I have, I actually think this is funny because I just realized the 2 that I picked are actually dupes for each other. I did a whole video on the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer versus the Too Faced Born This Way a couple months back here on my channel if you guys want to check it out. But these are actually essentially the same exact concealer, and I think that is why they are both my favorite and why I love them so much, because they really perform almost the same on the skin. Really the only difference between this foundation is the price difference. This is, I want to say, almost $30 for a concealer, whereas the e.l.f. one is $6. So I probably would be happy with just the e.l.f. one. But with that being said, there's just something about the Too Faced one that's just a little bit more nostalgic for me. It has like the slightest bit more coverage and a little bit more of a natural finish compared to the e.l.f. one, which is a little bit more luminous and has just like the touch, like the tiniest bit less coverage. But other than that, these concealers are very, very similar. Although I have a ton of concealers in my collection, another thing that really drew me to these particular concealers is that they really work with a bunch of different foundations, and they also work whether I'm wearing foundation or not. The Too Faced one also for me has doubled as a foundation before, so it's just very versatile. Long story short, you guys, they are just amazing concealers. Yes, they essentially do the same thing, but you know me, when you're a makeup lover, you could pick out like the teeniest, tiniest differences and you still want both products. For loose face powder, there have been a ton that I have been absolutely loving, but just to keep it minimal, my tried and true loose face powder for setting my makeup is of course the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. I have been using this powder for years and years and years, and it has never let me down. It is also the only loose powder that I've used recently that is truly great for all year round because it's strong enough to keep my makeup on in the summer and help control my oils, but it's also finely milled enough and light enough to not make me look dry in the winter. I have also really been loving these two powders, the e.l.f. Halo Glow and the Milani Make It Last, but I find that the Milani is too drying for the winter and then the e.l.f. Halo Glow is too glowy for the summer, and I get pretty shiny wearing this powder. So I just think the Maybelline Fit Me would be the smartest decision if I wanted to minimize my makeup collection and just have something that I know is going to work all year round, no matter what my skin is going through, no matter the weather and things like that. The Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder has been a tried and true favorite for years now. Now for the bronzers that I would have in my collection if I wasn't a YouTuber, I think I would have these two bronzers because these have just been, again, tried and true favorites of mine. So I would have the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer, which is my current favorite drugstore bronzer, and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Bronzer in the shade Rosewood, which is my current favorite high-end bronzer. Now, is bronzer one of those things that you absolutely need more than one of them in your collection if you don't make YouTube videos, if you don't post reviews and stuff like that? I personally don't think so, but I honestly just couldn't decide between these two because they both do have pretty different undertones. And again, I was thinking in the sense of a summer bronzer and a winter bronzer, just so I have something all year round to match my skin tone. The e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer in Perpetually Tan is an amazing formula, but it is, I think, only going to be ideal for me in the summertime. It is very strongly warm. It does have more of an orangey undertone that gives more of a sun-kissed look. So I don't think this would be totally ideal for me in the winter time when my skin is a little bit more fair. I think this would pull way too orange. But for the winter, I absolutely love the Anastasia Rosewood Bronzer because it is a little bit cooler toned, but not in a way that it's gray or dull on the skin or makes me look sunken. It's cooler toned in the sense that it has a little bit more pink and red in there. I have it like kind of back here on the cheeks to deepen up the back of my cheek. So it still is warm, it's still bronzy, but it's not too orangey for my lighter skin tone, and it's not too cool tone and blah sunken looking on the skin, if that makes any sense. I feel like even just holding it like this, you guys can see the difference between the shades. The e.l.f. one is a lot more orangey, whereas the ABH bronzer definitely has more of that reddish pink undertone to it, but it's not gray. So definitely just one bronzer again, summer and winter. I think I would be good to go with just these two. For blushes, I was able to narrow it down to 3 blushes for today's video. So the first one that I have is more of a nude, more of that perfect everyday no blush type of blush that you could almost barely even see on the skin. This is Tarte's Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Party, and this is a really standard blush. I've used this for years on my channel, but it's just that standard like cool tone light pink shade. Can you guys see it on my hand right there? If I swatch it, it's just a really standard cool tone light pink. But then there are some days where I still want that no blush kind of look, but I just want something a little bit deeper, a little bit more like wine flushed to the face. So this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Blush in the shade Mellow Wine. Again, just a little bit more of a deep nude, kind of along the same lines as the Tarte one, just a little bit deeper up here, if you guys can see. So this is beautiful, just dusted really lightly on the cheeks. It goes with almost every single makeup look, especially stuff that's more like neutral to cool tone. The last blush that I chose that I definitely think I would want to have is e.l.f.'s Primer Infused Blush in the shade Keep It Peachy. I always need some peach in my collection. It is a total no-brainer, one of my favorite shades to wear on my eyes, my cheeks, my lips. So this right here, hopefully you guys can see. Maybe I'll put my hand a little bit closer. These are the 3 blushes that I would have. Narrowing down highlighters for this video was so incredibly difficult for me. I love highlighter. I love trying out all different ones. I have tons in my collection. First and foremost, I would definitely have the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Highlighting Duo. This is one of my all-time favorite highlighters for the formula, for the shades, and also for the concept. I love the concept of being able to have a more muted shade and a more intense, beaming, bright highlight type of shade on the skin. This duo is in the shade Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, Lightning Dust being more of the subdued shade, and then Fire Crystal being that really bright beaming highlighter. That is that highlighter on the hand right there. It is a beautiful, just perfect everyday, a little bit more icy champagne and lighter than the other highlighters that I chose. So I mean, look at that formula, you guys. It is stunning. So I would definitely have this one without a doubt. The Anastasia Beverly Hills and Amrezy Highlighter is another total must-have for me, no doubt about it. I'm a sucker for ABH products. I know I had so many shown in this video, but I also had a lot of Anastasia in my collection prior to doing YouTube. It has just been one of my favorite makeup brands for a really long time. I always get sucked into their limited edition launches, so I knew I had to have the Amrezy highlighter. This is the highlighter that I'm wearing today. It really speaks for itself. It just gives the most beautiful, natural looking glow, but it's still also intense. And this one is going to lean a little bit more on the golden side. So I just really, again, love that variety in highlighter. It's this one right here, all the way on the bottom, compared to the two Fenty shades. It's just another huge must-have for me when it comes to my highlighters. And lastly, for a drugstore option, I had to go with the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powders. Just a total amazing drugstore option, only $4.99, $5.49, depending on where you purchase these highlighters. But these are the best highlighter formula. The two shades that I have in these that I would definitely have in my makeup collection are Golden Flower Crown, which is more of a true gold shade, and Precious Petals, which is going to be a little bit more of a light rose gold. So here are all of those highlighters swatched on the hand. The last two here being Wet n Wild's Golden Flower Crown and Precious Petals. As you guys can see, these highlighters are each like $30, maybe more, and these are only around $5. So there's a really big similarity. The formulas are absolutely amazing, and I feel like these highlighter shades, I would be so happy with just having these in my collection. The last few things that I want to talk about are lips. So for my makeup collection, if I wasn't a YouTuber, I still do think I would have a couple of different options, because I feel like even for the average makeup wearer, or even let's say someone like my mom who has one of everything else, she has a couple of lip options, because lips are something that's still fun to switch up even if you're beginners or if you don't necessarily collect makeup. So for lip liners, these are my top 3 lip liners at the moment that I would definitely have in my collection. My number 1 being the Haus Labs lip liner in the shade and Point, just the perfect formula, the perfect peachy nude. I also love MAC Boldly Bare, which is a little bit more of a neutral pinky nude, also a really nice formula and great for lining the lips. And then for a little bit more of a deep nude that leans a little bit more on the cool tone side, the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Little One is really great, and I have been wearing this a lot. I know it's a little bit of an awkward angle, but here are these swatches of the lip liners: Haus Laboratories and Point, MAC Boldly Bare, and then ColourPop Little One lip liner. They're all really similar, but still different. You guys know they're still different. I am justifying all of these right now. I narrowed it down to 4 lipsticks that I would keep in my collection if I wasn't a beauty guru, 3 of which of course are my favorite nude shades. So the 3 that I would have are the ColourPop What's Your Sign lipstick, a beautiful light peachy nude. This has more of a creamy hydrating finish to it, so I also picked the Anastasia matte lipstick in the shade Peachy, which this one is a little bit more of a true orangey peach, but it has a totally matte formula. And then for that standard, a little bit more of that like neutral deep nude that I like to wear day to day, Wet n Wild Bare It All is definitely a huge favorite of mine and would definitely be in my makeup collection. I'm running out of space to swatch on my hand. I hope you guys can still see here, but here is ColourPop What's Your Sign, Anastasia Beverly Hills Peachy lipstick, and then this is Wet n Wild Bare It All on the end here. Then I was thinking I'm gonna want to switch it up some days. I'm going to want to have that really beautiful, bright, bold red lip. I think a beautiful standard hot red is just a staple in everyone's makeup collection. So for that, I chose L'Oreal's lipstick in Blake's Red. I believe this was designed with Blake Lively. This is the perfect red for my skin tone because it has a really strong blue base to it. It's not too orangey or yellowy that kind of makes your teeth look yellow sometimes when you wear red lipstick. This is the type of red that actually makes your teeth look really really, really white. I swatched it over here too, but I think is kind of harder to see. So these are definitely the 4 lipsticks that I would have if I wasn't a beauty guru. Finally, last but certainly not least for this video, the glosses that I would have. I honestly think I would only have the Fenty glosses in my collection just because of all of the hype that they did get, and they are a little bit more on the affordable side for being a high-end lip product. So I definitely think I would just have to go with the Fenty glosses if I wasn't a YouTuber. These are just the best of the best glosses. They are beautiful shades. I also do have the clear one as well, which I'm not totally sure I would have, but I feel like maybe I would, because these are honestly all of the lip glosses I need. The clear is beautiful for quick everyday makeup looks. And then the 2 shades, Fussy is a little bit more of a pinky rose, and then Fenty Glow has a little bit more of that warm, like rose gold. You guys can definitely see the differences there. Really, really beautiful lip glosses, stunning formula that lasts a long time. It is not sticky at all. And I just think that these glosses would be the only gloss that I would need. All right, you guys, so that is everything. That is going to complete this video. That is what I think my makeup collection would look like if I wasn't a beauty guru or a YouTuber. Honestly, these are just overall all of my favorite products. I think these are all of the best that I have in my collection. And I would be more than happy with using all of these products on a daily basis if they were all that I had. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video and spending time with me today. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.